Hey, what's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in to All Soccer All Day. We'd like to thank you for listening, and please subscribe and support us on Patreon if you haven't done already. I'm your host, Erik D, and that's my main man over there, Stevie Mac. Stevie Mac, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing really well out here in Chicago. It's late in the evening, but we are doing this thing because the round of 16 just finished up, and I'm very excited. We have some Chicago Fire tickets to give away at the end of the podcast. This match is going to be on July 21st versus Toronto FC, and these are courtesy of Sam Weisbrod, who donated these tickets generously for us to be able to give away for this podcast to one of our subscribers. So stick around to the end of the podcast, or I guess fast forward to the end if you want to just know whoever the winner is, so you can also do that. Also, I want to give a big shout out to the CIBC Fire Pitch. And I did this on the last podcast, but I didn't really get to go into what I really wanted to go into. So a couple things. Number one, this is a world-class facility. This is definitely my favorite place to play in Chicago, hands down. A couple things that they have coming up. They have World Cup watch parties coming up for all the quarterfinal matches. So if you're here in Chicago and you need some place to check out these matches, they have a great pub. It's the Heineken 97 pub. They have great food. Chef Tai Fujimura, who is a restaurateur chef here in Chicago, does some great restaurants. So the food is awesome. The beverages are great. And they have, I think, like 14 big screens, something like that. Great place to watch games, great atmosphere. So big shout out to Sam, Dan, Lauren, Joey, Amy, Birch, Casey, Heather, Carlos, Christy. These are all the people that I know personally. If I missed anyone, I'm very, very sorry about that. I didn't mean to leave you out or anything like that. So back to you, though, Erik D.
Yeah, we want to take a moment here just to shout out our listeners that happen to be maybe all over this country. You're listening from out of the state that we're not currently in. We appreciate you. And across the globe, across the pond, to be exact, UK, Sweden, we see you. We thank you for listening. Keep spreading the word, guys. We appreciate the love.
Yes, let us know, and give us your thoughts and your ideas, your questions, your comments. We need to hear back from the fans also, so get us on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, allsoccerallday.com. We're coming soon onto YouTube, and we want to hear from you, the fans, your thoughts, your ideas. This is the whole concept of this show is two normal dudes that just love soccer. We love talking about soccer. And we think it's the greatest sport in the world, and we want to share it with as many people as we can. So we need to hear from you guys, the listeners, the subscribers. You guys are what makes this all happen. All right?
All right.
Let's get into the match reviews. After that, we're going to do some quarterfinal previews and predictions. And then after that, we're going to announce the winner for the Chicago Fire Toronto FC ticket giveaway. All right. We'll be right back.
Hey, what's up, guys? Again, we're back. This is the review show for the round of 16. Just want to touch base on, what we got right, what we got wrong, and we'll dive right into it. Saturday's action, first game of the morning was France versus Argentina. Stevie Mac, what are your thoughts on this game?
Well, if I remember correctly, both of us predicted that France was going to come out on top in this game. However,
correct.
Neither one of us saw the exciting game that we ended up getting from both of these teams. I have to say,
no.
I mean, it was a thrilling match from beginning to all the way to the end. There was drama all the way through. And number one, the big thing I want to point out with this one to start off with is Kylian Mbappe. That guy just torched Argentina. I mean, blazing past their entire back line. There was no catching this guy all game. He was just causing havoc the entire time. extremely impressive performance, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him in his next match. That was the very first thing I saw. What about for yourself? What stood out in this match for you?
Yeah, Mbappe as well. I mean, I think someone had said that maybe he's as fast as Usain Bolt out there.
I mean, it was incredible. He was just absolutely torching. I mean, it was really insane. So I really love watching that guy for sure. Totally different. He had like 2 gears. I mean, really, it was pretty impressive. Now, the next thing that was really incredible in this, and I don't think a whole lot of people saw this one coming, but how about Di Maria? His strike, when he put that into that side netting, was incredible. And I cannot tell you, I didn't see it coming. There was no way I saw something like that coming off his foot, off his boot. And it was very, very exciting to see that strike.
It was just a taste of things to come. Yeah, we did not predict this game to be a shootout like it was. It was entertaining stuff. So France got on the board first, and then Di Maria's beautiful strike equalized, and then Argentina took the lead.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, let's not discount. Griezmann has the penalty kick that Mbappe secured for them because Mbappe just decided to run by the entire defense. The only way they could stop him was bring him down. Griezmann takes the penalty, piece of cake, and after that, as you said, Di Maria levels it with that incredible strike. After that, Argentina gets a little bit lucky. They get kind of like a misdirection, deflection kind of goal. Messi comes around, puts his left foot through the ball, and it just kind of bounces off and into that net. And a lucky goal for Mercado, but a lucky goal is a goal. So.
Yeah, that's true. And at that point, Argentina had, come back from 1-0, and it was now 2-1 Argentina. I think some of the momentum was kind of swinging their way. And then the 57th minute, well, Savard with that.
Yeah, I mean, we posted it. I mean, it was absolutely a barn burner of a goal. I mean, that thing, it was ridiculous. I mean, they have such a good angle on it from behind him. If you've seen the replay a couple times where the ball is coming down out of the air and he takes it, puts his right foot, and the spin he got on it is what is so perfect. The spin to send that thing curling around, and with the power and, I mean, the force, the pace that was on that ball, there was no stopping that thing whatsoever. I mean, just an incredible strike to watch. And that is, I mean, it's some of the most exciting stuff for sure are strikes like that when they happen in the World Cup.
Oh yeah, man. No, the technique is spot on. One of the goals of the tournament for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if it became the goal of the tournament. I mean, I know there's a lot of goals up there right now, but it's a peach of a goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I continue finding actually in a lot of these matches that are coming up, you say goal of the tournament, and at this point, I have to say that this World Cup is really starting to deliver in a lot of different ways. Number one, the skill and technique of the goals that are coming through. A lot of these goals are incredible. They're not just like kind of cool. They're not just. I mean, they're incredible goals.
World class
goals. Same thing coming down to Sergio Aguero's goal. Late. Mbappe puts 2 away later on, by the way, in the second half. Which, again, the guy just torched everyone. He earned he earns the penalty at the beginning in the 13th minute. He puts away another goal in the 64th and another one in the 68th. The guy's unstoppable. He just totally torched Argentina, like I said before. But, Sergio Aguero's goal, great header, perfect technique. It's just, as they say, too little, too late, which is unfortunate, but an exciting game. And, obviously everyone's going to be talking about Messi. What are your thoughts on that moving forward? How do you see this playing out? What's going on?
I mean, no announcement has been made. I wouldn't be surprised if Messi retires from Argentina. I mean,
Again,
I don't envision him
he's going to
wanting
retire
to go through
again
another
from
cycle. Yeah. I mean, this one, obviously, the defeat in the Copa America versus Chile was painful, but I just can't see the man going through another qualifying cycle to Argentina. I mean, they barely made it to the World Cup. They were a mess in this tournament. I mean, France was deserved winners. I mean, granted, yeah, it was 4-3. I really think France was sloppy defensively. I mean, there's a lot of things that France needs to work on if they want to progress farther in this tournament. But, I mean, it could have been ugly, and Argentina probably shouldn't even had a chance. But the scoreline makes the game seem closer than I think it really was.
Yeah,
I mean, Argentina just didn't look good this tournament.
No, I would completely agree with you on that. You know, Argentina did end up getting 3 goals, but you are correct in that. I think that the scoreline definitely tells a little bit of a different tale. France definitely looked like the stronger side all the way through. Argentina was, it's interesting because they ended up taking the lead early, but didn't it feel like they were chasing the game most of the game anyway? Even almost
Yes.
when they had the lead, it didn't really even feel like they had the lead. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yeah, no, it's the eyeball test. It's the feel of the game. I know what you're saying. Sometimes the stats tell you one thing, but when you're watching the game, it tells you another. Like, I mean, just looking at the stats, I mean, would you believe if I told you that Argentina had 60% of the possession and to France's 40?
no, I mean, it doesn't feel like that at all. I mean, just from the explosive play from France might say a little bit to that because of the counterattack they had. So it might have felt more exciting. However, there's no way I would think that Argentina was having more possession just by the feel of the game, unless I look at those stats for sure.
Yeah, so I mean, Javier Mascherano ended up announcing his retirement from Argentina, and I think Argentina needs to sort out their house because it's a little bit of a mess. But yeah, it just.
I mean, it's kind of been that way for a little while at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, as you've been saying, barely qualifying for the World Cup itself. And now with this showing in the World Cup, even though they drugged themselves out of that group stage, which honestly, again, even looking back at that, you said this before, it was like 3 teams and 2 of them had to advance. So Croatia obviously deserved their movement through that group, and someone else had to go. And Argentina just happened to be able to pull it out. You know, a little messy magic and all that kind of stuff. But when it came down to it, when France came out on top with this one, it was not really a surprise. Although the surprise, again, was that exciting game, right?
Yeah, that's true. Just a little note of this match before we move on, guys. It looks like, looking here, Lionel Messi has never scored in the knockout stages of the World Cup. 666 minutes, 0 goals. Yeah, I don't know what to say. The enigma that is Messi with Argentina is a fascinating one because, like I've said before in the previous podcast, or actually in one of the other episodes, I should say, Messi's life with Barcelona, you know, joy that he has when he plays with them, and then when he's with Argentina, the agony that he has with them. I mean, it's just like, man.
Yeah, it's night and day.
It's night and day.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. All right, guys. So moving on to the next match that was later on that day was Uruguay versus Portugal. We had taken Portugal, or at least I had said Portugal, in a penalty kick shootout. It was anything but that, as Uruguay pulled away 2-1. So, yeah, we were wrong on that one. Uruguay surprising winners on this one. What do you think?
Well, you know, when I was watching this game, Uruguay from the first half really made an impression almost right away. So although Portugal, for us, you know, we had chosen them, you know, Ronaldo, still, in my opinion, still the best player in the world. But again, it's not all about the single player. When Uruguay came out, they were playing really well, very smart. And when Cavani scored this first goal, for me, right away, my thought was, okay, what's going to happen here is Portugal's going to come back, and then Uruguay is going to put one more away. That's what ended up happening. That was during the game. Before the game, I thought that Portugal was going to come out on top. I thought it was going to be the other way around. I thought it was going to be 1-1, and then we would have some Ronaldo magic. But for whatever reason, during the actual game while I was watching, it just felt like Uruguay was stronger. It felt like they were just more put together. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, there was definitely a feel that Uruguay was riding a wave of momentum after the Russia match. Portugal kind of had the downer match, of the draw with was it Morocco? I'm getting it mixed up right now, but the thing was that Uruguay's kind of getting it together. They're kind of humming along. Portugal kind of stuttered a little bit there in match day 3 of the group, and it's kind of similar to Argentina with Messi, with Portugal and Cristiano Ronaldo.
Right.
It's like, if Cristiano Ronaldo on the day is out of his mind playing outer worldly, then yeah, Portugal has a good chance of winning. But if for whatever reason he can't carry them and he's not having the best of games, it's tough for Portugal to win, because it's just, they're not really that upper echelon of a team, where Uruguay's like, they just have a bunch of scrappers, brawlers out there. They find a way to get it done.
That's absolutely
correct.
Obviously
a front line with Cavani and Suarez, that.
Okay, so, and I have to tell you right now, I'm going to say this right now. I apologize, Edison Cavani. You came out and you are a beast, my friend. That second goal that you put away was one of the most beautiful shots of this tournament, for sure. Putting his foot across the ball the way he did on that pass and curling it around the keeper right into that corner was absolute. It was just art in motion. So
yeah, exactly. Beautiful strike. Technique is flawless. Cavani's, unfortunately, I don't know the state of his injury, but obviously Cavani had to come off late in that match with an injury, and class act by Cristiano Ronaldo. Love him, hate him. That was class to help Cavani off. Whether you say it's staged or not, it's nice to see. Getting back to the stats real quick, once again, Portugal was almost 70% of the possession was to Portugal, and Uruguay had 30. And it just goes to prove that it doesn't matter how long you have the ball, it matters what you do with it. So if you want to hold on to the ball and pass it around and death of 1,000 passes like we were saying with Spain, that stat doesn't matter. All that matters at the end of the day is how many times you put that ball in the bag.
That's absolutely true. We're going to get into that Spain game here in a second, but you're absolutely correct. If you don't take the shots, if you don't take the chances, if you don't capitalize when you have the opportunity, because Portugal definitely had the opportunity to tie this up. There was definitely opportunity later in the game, 70th minute and so forth, where they could have put the ball in the back of the net. Quaresma, late in the game, had that shot, which was, to be honest, comfortable for the keeper, but there was opportunity, and Portugal was unable to capitalize. Uruguay, solid in the back, and they're able to come away with the victory because of solid play, solid defensive play as far as receiving the pressure, but also world-class finishing from Edison Cavani, for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, very good, very good. All right, moving on to our next set of matches, and this has to be, so far, the biggest upset in the entire tournament, as far as I'm concerned. The home team, and again, we have to talk about that home field advantage, because the home team, Russia, they just put up the curtain, and Spain, it's like they had the ball pretty much the entire game and they forgot to shoot. They forgot that they actually had to score in order to win. And Russia holds strong, holds all the way through to that shootout. And how about that last save? I mean, Akinfeev was an incredible save, just sticking that foot out right at the very end. I mean, I don't know, goosebumps all the way around. What do you think?
Man, I hate to harp on this, but it's the same thing, man. Ball possession almost 80% to Spain, 20% to Russia. Spain executed over 1,000 passes accurately to Russia's 200. I think they even made a note of this on the broadcast. It just goes to show Spain, the tiki-taka, they play the right way. There's a great movement and unselfishness that goes with Spain. But like you said, you eventually have to get the end result. You have to shoot on the goal. You have to get goals. It's not about who wins the possession or who has as many passes or that many passes. It's like you've got to get something going in the offensive end or the final third, and that's the thing. Spain lacks that really outside of Diego Costa, and
and he didn't really have service. I don't know what was going on with this handball from Piqué. I have to say that it was shocking looking back at the replay. I don't understand why his hand was up in the air. It makes no sense. Maybe he thought it was like last resort. I have to do something, otherwise it's going to go in. I don't know what he was thinking, but it was a bad look. And the second half, watching Spain, again, just like you said, they just looked tired. They looked, I shouldn't even say tired. They just looked like they forgot that they had to score. That's really what it looked like.
Yeah, I think they think when you're playing the tiki-taka, when you're playing such a heavily possession game, you lull the other team to sleep, and you'll eventually just be able to kind of waltz right through them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But Russia, to their credit, they're like, yeah, Spain, you're better than us, and we're going to let you have the ball, and we're going to put, 11 guys behind the ball and kind of somewhat park the bus, and we'll hit you on the counter. And then, it worked for him.
Right.
I
think it was Akinfeev in the interview afterwards. I'm pretty sure was just like, I'm not going to try to hide what we were doing. We were just trying to hold out for the penalty kicks because we knew we would have a chance if we got there. So we were just packing it in, like you said, parking the bus, like you said, and we're going to wait it out. And if we get to those shootouts, we know we have a chance because then it's one-on-one. And it worked for him, like you said.
Yeah, it did. And, yeah, they came up in the shootout, and at that point, it's kind of a toss-up. And, yeah, Spain, hey, maybe this is just desserts for them because they had fired their manager just days before the tournament, and Iniesta is going to retire from international football, and it'll be interesting to see how many of this guard in Spain right now, like Piqué and Sergio Ramos, how many of them are actually going to be sticking around.
Yeah. Well, it's a pretty unceremonious exit.
Yes.
Losing to Russia it's just sad, honestly. I mean, their team has so much talent, and they were so highly touted, and it's just not very exciting to see such a great team like that go out. But at the same time, all credit to Russia for holding up their game plan, and for that, obviously, they deserve that win. They deserve to move on. And we'll see how far they can go. That home field advantage is a big deal.
Yeah, it definitely is. I think it was the third largest upset, if I remember correctly, in World Cup history. I mean, they discrepancy in the rankings is great.
I think it was the third largest
hats off
upset
to Russia.
in like overall, and I think it was the largest upset in a knockout stage, if I remember correctly. And, again, I could be wrong, but it is what it is. So moving on to this next match, I said in our round of 16 that this could be a trap game for Croatia, and sure enough, it goes all the way again down to penalties. Croatia and Denmark. Croatia ends up pulling it out in a really exciting match, actually. This was a 1-1 draw to the end, but there was a lot going on in this match. A lot going on. What are your thoughts on this match? I mean, how did you see this thing ending up at the beginning? What was your feel for it?
I think I tweeted out about this match. It was frantic in the first couple of minutes. Obviously, I mean, Denmark got on the board within the first minute. I don't even think a minute had gone by. And then obviously Croatia equalizes just a few minutes later. After that, the game was kind of dull, to be honest with you. And then we get to penalties, and it's just like, one of the penalty kick shootouts for the ages. Like, I mean, it was great. I mean, if you had just known and you just, watch the penalty kick shootouts, you'd be like, man, I could watch these guys do penalty kick shootouts for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah.
It was great. And, what they say, I mean, once you get to a penalty kick shootout, it's kind of a lottery, and, Croatia came on top. But, man, Croatia flirted with disaster here. I do feel that if Croatia had lost, it would have felt like an upset. I mean, Denmark was just that close to taking it. So, I don't know. This is the first time we've seen Croatia kind of hiccup in this tournament. It's going to be interesting to see how they are moving forward.
Well, okay, so I have to give a huge shout-out to Kasper Schmeichel, because the dude was a beast in this game. There was one point in time in this match as Croatia was driving down the field. They had 3 shots in a row or so. He blocks 2 of them. The third one was kind of deflected off, and the dude stood up and he gave him the Matumbo, man. He gave him the finger. He wagged that finger at him, and it was, man, I remember seeing that and being like, okay, this dude is just nasty right now. And then right at, pretty much later on in that game, we go out to the 90th minute, and he saves the penalty kick in 116th minute. Not only does he save it, but he goes to ground and holds the ball. No rebound, nothing. I mean, incredible save.
Yeah, that was Luka Modric's block there, miss. I thought right there the game was going to be over. I thought Luka would put that away, but
I did too.
As we see, I mean, all the pressure's on the taker. There's no pressure on the keeper in these situations. So it's, hey, I agree with you. Kasper Schmeichel was beasting. I mean, the guy he's a great keeper. It's sorry that Denmark has gone out, and he's not going to be in the pipes anymore. But yeah, I mean, Croatia just had that little bit more quality, and that's why they're moving on.
Yeah, that's right. And again, as you said before, I think this is probably a wake-up call for them. At least I hope it is, because they were absolutely rolling through their group, and now they get to this game, and they were minutes away. I mean, they were one kick away in this penalty shootout from going out, just like Spain was going out. And and beyond that, let's make sure that we highlight that this is not the last penalty shootout that we're going to get into in the round of 16, which is
Nope.
The title of the podcast is "No One Is Safe," and that is definitely for a reason. At this point in time, you got Messi, he's out. You got Ronaldo, he's out. You have Spain, they're out. Croatia is just riding that fine line, almost put out by Denmark. So, I mean, we're in the round of 16, and you just cannot slack. You cannot just sit back and pretend like you're the highest ranked team, so you're good. Because as soon as you do that, someone like Russia comes up and they put you away. So, exciting.
Exciting stuff, guys. So we're moving on to Monday. There's two matches, obviously, that day. The first match of the day was Brazil versus Mexico. Stevie Mac, what's your thought?
Yeah, well, we didn't get them all right. I think we were 5 for 8 in the group of 16, round of 16. But this one, we both definitely called. Unfortunately for Mexico, another sad exit in the round of 16. That fifth game continues to escape their grasp. And Brazil, as we were talking about, full head of steam right now. They're looking nasty. There was some ice cold stuff coming out from Neymar after this game too. Talking about how these guys talk too much and now they're going home. I mean, that's
what I wanted to ask you. I'm not really my review of this match. What I want to talk to you about doesn't really have to do anything with the gameplay in the sense of yeah, it's a business-like performance. Brazil gets it done. I have a few comments about things that kind of don't have anything to do with soccer really in this. I mean, well, they do, but they don't. First, I guess, what do you think about Chicharito and León and Salcedo and I don't know whoever else? They were going with the bleach blonde hair. I feel like that wasn't a good move on their part.
Well, I mean, fashion aside, I mean, there've been some pretty bad moves in way of hairdo. Let's not forget Ronaldo Nazario from back in the day. I mean, the most epic haircut that anyone has ever had leading into a World Cup for sure. But do whatever you want. I don't know if that was supposed. I don't really know the reason behind doing their hair. It doesn't really matter. But
I'm going to say right now, for the record, they looked ridiculous, and I feel like, and no, I know people are going to joke about this, but I look at it a little deeper. I think about the psyche of the team. Now, some people say maybe they lost a bet because there's only the three of them. I don't know, but I'm like, what are you doing? You're about to play Brazil in the round of 16. Is this like you think this is giving you an edge? Like. That's what I worry about with the Mexican national team is between the ears.
Yeah.
Like psychologically, mentally, are you guys ready to take that next step? Because you guys, for me, I'm like, does Mexico have the mentality of a champion? Not necessarily saying that, Brazil has it, but at least this Brazilian team. But it's just like those kind of things. It's just like, what are you doing? You don't see that. Like, would the Germans ever do that?
Yeah. Okay, so here's a small little take on this also. And again, maybe we get some hate for this, maybe not. Whatever it is, what it is. We're just saying how we feel. So if you take that personally, that's your deal. So
no, exactly.
So here's the deal. Here's my opinion about some of this stuff. Number one. The attitude from the players in a lot of ways, sometimes that will come off from the head coach. And Juan Carlos Osorio did not come off looking good after this match. You know what? You guys did not lose because of the FIFA referees. Whatever excuses that you're trying to make in order to give yourself some sort of hope or credit, or I don't know what you're trying to do, drag another team down because they beat you and you feel bad. It's just a bad look, and it's just not a way that you handle defeat properly. I don't agree with it.
Yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying. I don't. Juan Carlos Osorio looks like sour grapes, but let's not just pick on Mexico here. Let's also point some fingers at Brazil in the sense of what's up with Neymar and his antics.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is like, he is like Jedi level with his dark art.
Yeah. It's really interesting because although he is, as you say, antics and all this stuff, and people are upset about, the way he's playing in a lot of ways, the guy also scored a goal and had an assist. And so it's hard because, you want to say, I want to see someone play a little bit differently. I want to see someone trying to stay up. That's one thing that everyone really likes about Messi. I know that I like about Messi a lot. When he's dribbling the ball, that guy's trying to stay on his feet, and something very respectful. And sure, Neymar goes down, but he also scores a goal, also has an assist. They get the win. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, at the end of the day, he can just say, like, look, hate me, love me, whatever you think of my play, of the soft fouls, the rolling around and all that. Hey, I produce.
Yep.
I had an assist. I scored goals. We won. We're moving on.
Yeah.
What else you want? So it's true. It's like the full package with Neymar. That's what you get.
So sad, definitely sad exit for Mexico. Again,
yeah,
a lot of questions going to have to be answered there too. I mean, do you think JCO is going to be around any longer? Do you think this was his last hurrah?
No. From what I'm hearing, JCO is probably going to resign if the federation doesn't fire him. I hear that he's done. Like, he set a certain standard that he didn't meet his standard. He's gonna walk away from this deal because it just didn't work out. And the federation, the feelings are mutual. Let's put it that way.
Right.
So yeah, Mexico will be looking for another manager once again. And the next qualification cycle starts, and we just we'll see where Mexico goes from here. But yeah, I feel with Mexico, the beginning of the end was the Sweden game.
Oh,
they
for sure.
They stubbed their toe against Sweden, and they cost themselves first place. They put themselves on the harder side of the bracket in a game against Brazil. Mm-hmm. Hey, this is what you get.
Well, I think that everyone that is paying any attention to the World Cup can easily go back to that Sweden game and say you lost it right there. I mean, easily. Because exactly like you were just saying, you put yourself up against Brazil, who's coming out on fire. We called that in the last podcast. We were talking about that stuff exactly. So, I think the sentiments are all the same across the board when it comes to that. Mexico, you lost in your last match in the group stage. That's when you went out, truthfully. And that is, it's really sad because they started off so well. They started off with the opportunity to top that group, and they just fell apart.
Yeah. Some would say they beat an apathetic Germany team, obviously not a very good Germany, and they beat South Korea, and then they laid an egg against Sweden, and they got beat by Brazil. So I don't know. When you take it all in its totality, was it a great tournament for Mexico? I don't know. I mean, granted, the highs of that win against Germany was great. They beat South Korea. They were on 6 points. All they needed to do was get a result against Sweden, and they would have got first place.
That's right.
And they lay an egg. And then it's like, now we got to play Brazil again to hopefully get the fifth game, break that curse. It's 7 straight World Cups in a row now, if I'm not wrong, that Mexico has been dropped out of the World Cup.
No, you're correct. It's 7 straight quarterfinals for Brazil also. So, I mean, it's looking at that. That difference, and we talked about this way back in the group stage podcast about the difference between that upper echelon team and, unfortunately, right now for Mexico, and they just don't have that finishing strong quality right now. And here's the messed up thing is, like, it sounds like we're throwing a lot of shade on Mexico, and the reality is I very much like the Mexican team. I really wanted them to see. I wanted to see them do way better. I wanted to see them win. I wanted to see them go on to a quarterfinal match. I wanted to see them top the group. But when you look at the facts and you look at the context of the groups, as you were saying, they beat as you said, apathetic German team. They beat South Korea. They stubbed their toe on Sweden, and then they lose to Brazil because of that. So, overall, it really looks like a pretty mediocre tournament performance.
Yeah, no, I'd have to. Unfortunately, I'd have to agree with that. I mean, when you take it all in its totality, it just seems like it wasn't as good as it started. As it appeared to be. So So, guys, that's what it is. Moving on, obviously the second match of that day was Belgium versus Japan. So much to say here. At least that second half. Woo!
I mean, how much more exciting can you get in a half of soccer? It was incredible.
Yeah.
Japan, I have to say this, being a fan, being half Japanese, Brandon, you pointed this out, that this was soccer karma for Japan right here, for backing into these round of 16 games, going out like the way they did with Belgium, coming back and just absolutely throttling the second half. It was incredible. It was more like throttling the second half of the second half, like the last quarter of the game. Belgium just turns it on, and it was just incredible to watch them play.
Yeah, I mean, when I was watching this and Japan scored their first goal, I was like, okay, they got a goal. It's somewhat shocking. But then when they got the second goal, I was like, whoa, I was kind of in disbelief. I'm like, what's happening here? Is Belgium about to go out of this tournament? They're down 2-0 to Japan. Like, what is happening?
I know. We saw Spain go out. We saw Croatia almost going out. We see Messi and Ronaldo going out. And now we're about to see Belgium, who, at this point in time, once Portugal, Argentina, Spain, all these big names start going out, Belgium starts looking like one of the top teams in the tournament alongside Brazil and France. And all of a sudden, you're seeing them lose 2-0 to a Japan team who just backed into the round of 16. It was shocking for sure, to say the least.
Bizarre. But yeah, so they're up 2-0. I think, Japan, to their credit, they kept attacking. They were killing Belgium on the flanks. But Belgium, credit to their manager, Martinez. He made some substitutions. There some tactical changes there, and Belgium started to claw their way back into this match. Obviously, Vertonghen had that fortuitous header that became a goal. So, hey, they all count. And then Fellaini with the header to equalize. And
I believe that at one point in time, you and I were texting during this match, and when I saw the Fellaini goal, I believe that I said something to the effect of, this guy looks like an absolute tree in the middle. Just towering above the Japanese defense. And it was just all power all the way through, and there was no stopping that. And it was fun to watch from the sporting perspective, and it was kind of sad to see the Japanese guys just getting owned by these dudes that were like a foot and a half taller than them,
Yeah. No. The discrepancy there in kind of the physical department was apparent.
Can I just finish off one thing about this, though, by saying that, if you are a fan of soccer, if you play soccer, if you have kids that are getting into soccer, anything like that, okay, take them to this counterattack that Belgium scores their last goal on. Take them to it, have them watch how they break. It was, it was perfect. All the way down.
It was a thing of beauty.
All the way down to, as many people are saying, the most epic dummy in World Cup history. Romelu Lukaku knew exactly where the runner behind him was, let that ball go through unselfishly, and it was just perfect. Beauty.
No. There's so much going on with this counterattack. I love the movement. Obviously, a lot of people will say they knew it was coming. De Bruyne going up the heart of the midfield. They've said, I've seen this so many times with Man City. The movement for Belgium was great. The whole counterattack itself was a thing of beauty, and the dummy was sublime. And for it to happen when it did, it's like a golden goal in a way.
Yep.
The thing for me, as a U.S. national team fan, for me, the flashback came back to the Landon Donovan goal.
Right.
U.S. versus Brazil in the 2009 Confederations Cup final.
Mm-hmm.
The counterattack they had that day against Brazil, that's what this goal reminded me of. And it just goes to show, man, when the counterattack is on and when the precision is precise and everything's clicking, it is a beautiful thing to watch. It's like poetry in motion.
Yep, absolutely. Well, moving on to these last two games that were taking place in this round of 16, some exciting stuff for sure, because this Sweden-Switzerland game ended up being a little more than we thought it was going to be. And again, I have to apologize to the Swedish fans. I am sorry. I doubted them. I thought Switzerland was going to pull this out, but, Sweden with the win. They played tough, and they earned their victory, and they're into a quarterfinal, and it's pretty exciting for sure.
Yeah, outside of Russia, for me, Sweden is the surprise of the tournament, obviously. They're just finding ways to win. Mm-hmm. They're finding ways to get it done. Like, I feel like they're like a perfect tournament team right now. Like, they just, we both thought Switzerland had a little bit extra to get it done, and Switzerland kind of goes out on a whimper, and, Sweden, they just find a way to get the goal and to get the victory and move on. Let's not kid ourselves. It was not the prettiest game.
No.
But
that seems to be how Sweden gets it done. I mean, if you look at their win against South Korea, it was definitely not a pretty game. They got a penalty kick, and that was their one goal, the win in that game. But it wasn't a thing of beauty. It wasn't something like some crazy counterattack like Belgium is having. It wasn't some beautiful goals from long distance shooting like Di Maria or anything like that, or Pavard or anything like that. It's just they kind of tough it out, and then there's that one flash of brilliance from Forsberg, and even that honestly was pretty fortuitous. I mean, he didn't really get
a deflection.
Yeah, he didn't even really get a clean strike on it, and it takes that deflection. It goes into the net, but it also goes to say that they win because they shot. They shot the ball here. They got the lucky deflection. It's something that Spain didn't do. They weren't taking those shots, and I mean, there you go. They end up pulling out this win. So,
would I surprise you by saying that the losing team had the dominant amount of possession?
No. At this point, nothing surprises me, because it's just, I mean, again, no one is safe.
Kind of tournament.
No one is safe, man. You just cannot think that you can hold the ball in this tournament and that you're good. It just doesn't happen. Nope. So, yeah, it seems to be a reoccurring theme for sure. Moving into this last match in the round of 16, exciting match for me. I was actually quite a bit through this entire match. I was on the edge of my seat in a lot of ways. England coming up with the penalty kick from Harry Kane, and again, we keep on talking about this, but the best players in the world right now, they just look ice cold. This guy walked up to that penalty spot, put that thing away. It looked like another day's business, and it was incredible to see that happen. And why don't you take it from here? Why don't you take it to letting us know what happens a little bit later in that game and how that swings around?
Well, I mean, one of the stories of this match, it was very chippy, a lot of yellow cards, a lot of hate right now for one Mark Geiger. Unfortunately, the one lone American referee at the tournament. People were saying that it seemed like he lost control. So So there's a lot of stoppages in play. I don't know. I mean, the quality was lacking at times between these two teams because they were more on the floor or being fouled or whatever. All the not the unnecessary stuff, but just all the extracurriculars, I should say. And at the death, in the third minute of stoppage time, Colombia gets the equalizer. I mean, in dramatic fashion. So,
and it's Mina again. Mina going up and putting a header away. And at this point in time, for me, I was thinking this is just it could be disastrous for England at this point, right? I mean, you saw kind of where it was heading. You're like, okay, 93rd minute, this looks like it's pointing to penalty kicks. Extra time rolls through, and sure enough, we get to penalty kicks. And at this point in time, I mean, my heart was beating through my chest on this. And to be honest, again, you and I being U.S. soccer fans, we have teams in this tournament that we like, we enjoy watching, but not necessarily like a team that we're 100% invested in, I would say. However, for England, I was just feeling like, how can this happen again? It was almost like Mexico. It was almost like, how can you go out again in the round of 16, but just for the same reason of, going out through penalty kicks.
Yeah.
So, here's a couple things about this. Number one, as I was watching these, what kind of relief did Jordan Henderson feel when the Colombian player missed the penalty right after he was stopped? Because when Jordan Henderson missed that penalty, I mean, I thought that was it. I mean, how did you feel about it at that point in time?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, those thoughts are creeping in that, here we go again, England's going to go out of the World Cup on penalties. Because at that point, Colombia had made all their kicks from the spot, and that made it 3-2 in favor for Colombia. And it wasn't looking good, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But then Jordan Pickford, I mean, he came up big. He came up big in regulation time too, as well, during the match. I mean, he had a huge save.
He did, and that save was crazy. I went back and watched that save a couple times, and he was like flailing in the air, like like it looked like he just like flung himself and gave everything to it. And he had that incredible save. I mean, it was definitely a highlight reel save for him.
Yeah. So I mean, and then England was able to get it done, and they're able to move on. I mean, I'm sure a lot of relief was, felt with that team and with the fans and everybody that supports English soccer. It's like, it's a major roadblock, stumbling block, whatever you want to say, that they overcome. Obstacle.
Yeah, absolutely. Colombia, at the same time, heartbreak for them. James Rodriguez on the bench didn't have that creative flair that we were talking about before. Just not the same way. And England does end up edging this out. It's interesting because it's almost like England gets this penalty kick shootout out of the way now. Do you think this is a stepping stool to something bigger? We already kind of started talking about how on this side of the bracket, it does look pretty good for England to go pretty deep into this tournament. And so we're going to get into those quarterfinal matches next, our predictions and our previews for those. Erik D, do you have anything to add onto this before we get into our next segment?
Nope. Ready to move on.
All right, let's do it. All right, welcome back to All Soccer All Day. We are now getting to our portion of the show where we are going to preview the quarterfinal matches, give our predictions for that, and then after that we're going to announce the winner of the Chicago Fire ticket giveaway. So first of all, our very first match that's going to be happening, this is going to be on July 6th, that's Friday, France, Uruguay. This is actually one of the more exciting games. Actually, I think that all the quarterfinal games are going to be pretty great. This World Cup has really been delivering for me. And this Uruguay-France game proposes some very interesting questions. Uruguay with Edinson Cavani's injury, his calf injury. We don't know whether or not he's going to be playing or not, leaving a big question mark for the Uruguay national team. And of course, we have France coming off that victory, putting out Messi and Argentina, and they're kind of riding that wave. They put 4 goals away, but they also gave up 3 goals. What are your thoughts on this match, Erik D? How do you think this one's going to play out? Do you see Uruguay coming away with an upset, or do you see France moving forward to the semis?
Well, what's interesting here, just looking at some history, it looks like France has only won one of their last 8 previous meetings with Uruguay, including a friendly encounter that they'd lost back in June of 2013. Now, granted, that was like 5 years ago, but something to look at here. I do feel like initial feelings is that France should be able to overwhelm Uruguay. Now, Uruguay's got a great defense. What's going to happen with Cavani? That's a big question mark. If they're going to be without him, everything's going to fall on Luis Suarez's shoulders, and I don't know if he'll be able to carry the load. I gotta feel like France is going to win this match. That's where I'm headed. Give nothing. Take nothing away from Uruguay. I feel like France is definitely going to be in for a tougher match than they were against Argentina, for sure. Uruguay's a much more well-organized team.
Yeah.
They're more confident going forward. So it's going to be a tough match. I guess I could see taking France. I'll go 3-2 France.
Okay, 3-2 for France. When I'm first looking at this game also, I feel like Uruguay is a dark horse in this tournament right now in a way. I mean, they kind of have been throughout this whole thing, but keep in mind, they have given up very few opportunities even. When it comes to scoring goals, 1 goal to Portugal, and other than that, they have looked very solid defensively. Although I will say, maybe their competition leading up to now hasn't been, the top of the top, other than Portugal putting on definitely a bigger test. But Cavani, I think, is a big question mark in this. He's been playing lights out and finally coming into his stride. It's really unfortunate that he has an injury, because you want to see the biggest stars playing, especially on this stage, right? And so
no doubt.
You have France coming in again in a way on fire. They're putting 4 goals away. Mbappe, again, as we were saying before, just absolutely lightning fast. And can Uruguay keep up with that? Much less. We thought Giroud was going to get on the scorecard. He didn't even show, he didn't get a goal in the last game where they put 4 away. And you have to think that he's got to be itching to score. I would think they're going to be feeding the ball to him all game long. I mean, that's what I would be doing if I was France at this point. I'd be sending Mbappe down the wing. And then you have either him blazing past the defense, or these guys are whipping in crosses to Giroud. And if Giroud is going to get the ball on net, then maybe Griezmann's coming in and cleaning one up. Obviously you saw Pavard could clean him up as well. There's so much talent. I mean, Pogba, he's still hanging out in there somewhere too, and it's incredible because we didn't even mention him when it comes to the review of the last game, because there was so much else going on with the other players in France. There's so much talent there. So This one's hard. This one's actually a very difficult choice for me. I would say that if Cavani is playing, Uruguay has a much better chance at possibly getting a tie into a penalty kick kind of scenario. If Cavani is not playing, I am going to go with you, even though I'm going to go 2-1 France over Uruguay if Cavani is not playing. If Cavani is playing, just, it's hard too because he, obviously he's injured too, so is he even going to play at the same level that he was before? But for the sake of making this one interesting, let's say that if Cavani does come in, it's going to end up being 2-2. It's going to go into penalty kicks, and I think that France is going to come out as the winner in those penalty kicks. So France edging out Uruguay is my guess on this one. You're also going with France, correct?
I'm going with France as well. I was saying 3-2, but I could see definitely 2-1 scoreline. Uruguay is going to definitely be in this match. There's no doubt about it. They have a chance to, I guess, in a way, to upset France. History shows that it's going to be tough, and actually, some of the previous meetings have been 0-0 draws. So, it's going to be a tough match for France. Interesting notes here. Mbappe has scored 3 goals so far in this tournament. He's the first teenager to score this many in a World Cup campaign since Pele.
Yep.
And it's 6 for Brazil in 58.
Mm-hmm. He's 19, correct? I think he's 19.
Yes.
And the kid is just tearing everyone up, So go ahead and let's lead us into this next game. And I have to tell you, this is one of the most exciting games for me in the quarterfinals for sure.
Yeah, so the next match, very tantalizing match here. Everyone's probably looking forward to this one. Brazil versus Belgium. What are your thoughts, Stephen Mack?
Well, first of all, I've kind of said this for a little while now. Right now, Brazil is my number 1 team in the tournament. I think they're going to end up being the winners. They've been my prediction for a while now. So, I will stick with them, and I will say that I do think Brazil is going to edge Belgium out. However, again, this is not going to be the same game for either one of these teams coming into it. So on Belgium's side, Belgium looked at a Japan team that put 2 goals away on them and just about had enough to hold back and get a result there. Brazil is not going to let that happen. If they go up a goal, if they go up 2 goals, I just don't see Belgium coming back the same way they did in any way. So if Belgium has any chance at this, I think they need to score first. I think they need to score early. And, the exciting thing about this match is they definitely have the talent to do that. And so, in my opinion, I think it comes down to whoever scores the first goal in this game is going to come out the winner. I think Brazil's going to do that. However, I think this is going to be an exciting game down to the end. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you just said. I believe that the first goal will definitely be big for whatever side scores out. If Belgium has to play from behind, I think it's going to be problematic for them. Brazil has a lot of talent, a lot of speed, just like they do, but yeah, if Brazil was to jump on them early and get a few goals, I just don't see if Belgium being able to fight back. This is not Japan we're talking about. No. So you could definitely see Brazil getting on them early and just putting the game to bed. So, yeah, it's going to be big for Belgium to get on the board first.
And the exciting thing about this game also is the fact that, as I was just saying, it's very possible that could happen. You look at Lukaku up there, you look at Mertens up there, Eden Hazard, De Bruyne, Fellaini. You just go down the list again, as we've been saying the entire time. They're stacked. A bunch of Premier League players, so kind of big ups to that. And you're kind of excited if you're a Premier League fan to see the Belgian team play. However, when you look at Brazil, as I've been saying before for a while now, they're coming in to this portion of the tournament, and they are just heating up at the right time. and I feel like right now Brazil is just the team to stop. Call them soft or whatever if you want to call Neymar flopping or whatever it is. But again, they're getting the results and they're riding a high wave. And Belgium is coming off a questionable win. I mean, an incredible last half of the game, but questionable for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. It's true. Belgium narrowly escaped. Japan, and that was surprising.
I'll give a scoreline on this one. I'm going to say it's going to be 2-1 Brazil. I think that it's going to happen in regulation. However, again, this is kind of like the first match. It's possible this one could go to penalties also. I mean, there's so much talent on the field, you never know. What would be something that could also totally happen, that this could end up being a complete shootout also. I mean, these guys, both these teams have so much offensive firepower that, I mean, they could just break this game open, and you never know. If Belgium ends up chasing this game early and they just have to let it go, that could just really open the counterattack from Brazil, and vice versa. I mean, obviously we saw Belgium on the counterattack against Japan, so if for some reason Brazil goes down early and they have to put on the pressure, that could really open it up for Belgium also. So I'm hoping for an exciting game. I think it's going to be, and I really hope this World Cup continues to deliver in that sense. So moving on to our next game, again, the team that no one thought was going to be here right now, the home team, Russia. I'm sorry, the next in chronological order is actually going to be Sweden versus England. So you have Sweden. Again, my apology to the Swedes. You are now in the quarterfinal. I did not see this happening. No one saw you topping the group, quite frankly, especially when Germany was still in the running. But here you are in the quarterfinals. You are facing an England team that finally comes off a penalty kick victory. And how do you see this one playing out, Erik D? Do you see this being a sleeper for Sweden again and them powering through and getting the win? Or do you see England coming out and showing that they are the dominant team?
Well, you'd hope for England's sake that's exactly what's going to happen. It seems like at this point of the tournament, we'd be fools to root against Sweden. But, I have to feel like this is the end of the run for Sweden.
Yeah.
I'm going to probably just keep picking against them. If somehow they were able to get past England and into the semis, it'd be amazing. I have to go with England here. I have to think England's going to take this. It could be a dull game. Hopefully it's not. But with that said, I'm going to take England 1-0.
Gotcha. Yeah, 1-0. I think that is definitely possible based on how these two teams are playing right now, especially with Sweden and their style of play. Just really being defensive and then, kind of grinding it out, if you will. England, on the other hand, they show they can put away goals in the group stage. However, their competition was not nearly as fierce at this point in time. We're in the quarterfinals of the World Cup, and so you're facing all these teams. Any team that you face has definitely earned their right to be here by now. And so I will say, though, that I see England coming out as the victor as well. Kind of like you, at this point in time, it's kind of weird to be picking against Sweden because every time we pick against Sweden, they end up winning. So who knows? Maybe Sweden, we're picking against you, but it's good for you. I have no idea. Maybe it's the opposite of a jinx. But I see England coming out with the victory. And I'll say this. This is just like a little side note. I really hope Jesse Lingard scores, just because I want to see that dude pop some locks on some people. But so I'm gonna call this one actually 2-0 England. I don't think Sweden's going to be able to score on England in this one. Again, I think they got a little bit fortunate on that goal from Forsberg in the last game, and so I think England comes out on top with this one. England makes a deep run, and the way it's shaping up going into our next game, as you lead us into this one, we're going to be looking at the possibility of them going all the way to the finals, maybe. We'll see. But who do you think they're going to be facing off in the semis if England does happen to win?
Before I get off to our next match, I don't think I gave a prediction for the Brazil-Belgium match, so I'm just going to say that I ditto for me. I believe you said Brazil 2, Belgium 1.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same and take Brazil, even though there's a part of me that was thinking maybe Belgium for the upset. I guess it would be considered an upset, believe it or not. But, yeah, I'm going to take Brazil 2-1.
I know.
So, the final match of the tournament, of the quarterfinals, is Russia versus Croatia. The other improbable team besides Sweden, maybe probably even more improbable than Sweden, Cinderella, still dancing at this ball.
Yeah. Russia, I told you it was your last game, the last game. And again, the whole world is wrong on this one, okay? So you showed everyone that you are strong and powerful. However, I don't think Croatia is going to make the same mistake they did against Denmark. I don't think they're going to make the same mistake that Spain made. I think that Croatia is going to come out and they are going to show that they deserve to be in this quarterfinal game. And I think Croatia is going to come away with the win. And the interesting thing, again, is, as you just said, just like Sweden, maybe us picking against Russia is what they need. So who knows? I mean, at this point in time, nobody is safe. It's the whole concept of this particular show, because just the upsets that have happened in this round of 16 have been incredible. And so is it possible that Russia could move past Croatia? At this point in time, you can't say it's not possible because they beat Spain. However, I do think that Croatia is going to come out on top. I'm going to say 2-1. I'm going to say Russia puts one away, but I think that Croatia is going to edge this one out, and they're going to be moving to the semis. Do you have a scoreline on this one?
Well, you know what, Stevie Mac, I'm not going to be so nice. I'm actually going to bring the knives out. I'm going to say Croatia's going to mop up on Russia. I'm going to do a 3-0 scoreline. I think it's all right. I think it's time for Croatia to show their class once again. I think they need to stick it to these Russians. I mean, I'm not trying to throw shade at Russia. They've had an improbable run, but I mean, let's be honest here. Russia has gotten this far, and it's been a fairy tale. But I think the magic is up for Sweden. I think it's up for Russia. It's got to be the end for Cinderella. Yeah. Midnight's got to be striking soon, because it's just the thought of Russia and Sweden playing in that semifinal for one of those to go to the World Cup final is unimaginable to me. I mean, granted, we're going to get people to think we're hating on Russia, or I'm hating on Russia and hating on Sweden, but that would be unthinkable, I feel. I mean, Can it happen? Of course it can happen. But I feel like Croatia, just like with England, they've got to show their class now. It's time to be like, okay, it was cute, it was a nice run, but you know what? We're going to take it from here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I want to see that midfield get active and Croatia get pumping again, because I mean that midfield has looked great. They've looked great, and I'm taking them to beat Russia.
I don't doubt it. I could definitely see the 3 goals happening. You are pulling out the knives, as you said, but it's not unthinkable by any means. So let's not forget, however, nobody is safe in this tournament. At this point in time, if you sleep for a second, everyone in this tournament right now is cutthroat. And so we're going to see an incredible quarterfinal round leading into the semifinal round. I'm very excited to get to these games. These games, again, they're starting on Friday, July 6th here in the United States, and it's just going to be so exciting. Again, shout out to the CIBC Fire Pitch. If you have an opportunity to go over there and watch the games for their World Cup watch party, I highly recommend it. Great spot. If you are listening and watching from around the world, know that we are with you in spirit. And, we are so excited, just like you, as soccer fans, as football fans, to just get pumped about these games. So wrapping up in this show, I just want to say that we really appreciate you as the listeners coming back and continuing to evolve with us. This is something, again, that's pretty homegrown for Erik D and myself, and we are evolving. Hopefully you've noticed our sound quality is getting better, and it will continue to do so. And please tell your friends about our podcast. Please go onto our Patreon page and support us. And, we ask that because our goal is to share soccer with the world. We want to share this beautiful game, and we can do that with supporters like you and listeners like you. So get on there, do your thing. And last but not least, we are going to do the final ticket giveaway here for this Chicago Fire versus Toronto FC. The winner is Edgar Granados. Yeah, Edgar Granados. Congratulations. You have won 2 tickets to the Chicago Fire versus Toronto FC on July 21st. Please send us an email in order to claim your tickets. The email address is info@allsoccerallday.com. Again, that's info@allsoccerallday.com. You can also text us at 312-278-7630, or you could call us, of course, and leave us a message as well. But we want to get those tickets to you. So again, thank you very much to Sam Weisbrod for donating those tickets. Congratulations, Edgar. And last thing, we'll say that you have until the 12th to claim those tickets. If you do not claim those tickets till the 12th, we are going to select someone else randomly through our subscriber list. We'll email you directly if for some reason Edgar does not claim those, and you will then get those tickets. So hopefully, Edgar, you're listening, and hopefully you call us up and claim those tickets. Erik D, do you have anything else that you have to add before we wrap up?
No, sir. Just enjoy those games and don't hate.
Yeah, that's right. Don't hate.